So it's been a couple of weeks since the Inside the Manosphere documentary came out on Netflix. I definitely recommend you go watch that and get an opinion for yourself. But what I want to talk about today is kind of the reaction from the manosphere itself. So from all the guys that are in the red pill, how they're reacting to their depiction on this documentary. Specifically, I have a clip pulled up here with Myron talking about it. I haven't seen this video yet, so we're going to react to it together live so I can give you my honest opinions about his critiques or the things that maybe he has to say about it. Also, if you didn't watch my breakdown of the documentary, go check that out on my channel here before you get into this one. So let's go watch Myron's reaction to what he believes the documentary was about, and let's give our opinion on it.
As I was drawn into the conversation, I realized I too was being assessed by commenters in the chat. The anonymous posters did not hold back.
Men are able to redeem themselves in many ways if we're not physically attractive, versus very hard for them to redeem themselves if they're not physically attractive.
Yeah, well, I feel like you've mixed two different. Yeah, well, I feel like you've mixed two different things. One is like, of what a guy's interested in a relationship is sex.
But what I'm saying is, we don't even get to the relationship until he finds her attractive first.
Yeah,
sexuality is her predominant value, and then as you get to know her more and more, that sexuality goes and other traits start to take over for importance.
For sure, but in the question about whether
you stupid.
She has to have lost respect for him.
So far, I mean, it doesn't really seem like he has a ton of critiques. It's just kind of Louis stammering and stuttering over his points. This isn't really scathing information. Like, the way that this is proposed is saying, like, the lies that Netflix was selling or the deception of, like, he was trying to expose what actually went on. Not really much of an argument that's being portrayed here. Just kind of like the dude's just fumbling over his words. So let's keep watching, but yeah, I'm not too convinced that this is very scathing to Netflix right now.
Would not be willing to have sex with her husband as a symptom of something else. Well, she may be depressed. She may lack self-worth. I mean, there could be a lot of things going on. Yeah.
Not for 8 years. She don't like self-worth that much. Not 8 years. I'm sorry, Louis.
So again, like, yeah, that's one of the critiques that I actually had of Louis myself. I had stated in the video that I didn't really appreciate some of his judgment and opinions on things, because clearly he comes from seems like more of a progressive kind of worldview, which is something I disagree with. Obviously, I'm conservative. I don't think this disproves what the documentary was showing so far. Again, this is pretty early in his video, but it's not like this was showing something that we didn't already know ourselves. Like, we knew Louis had his own opinions and stuff, but for the most part, he just let the guys talk in the documentary. He was just really asking questions. Now, I wish he would have asked more questions, but yeah, they didn't show this part in the documentary, I'm assuming, because this wasn't about Louis Theroux. Like, the documentary wasn't about him. It was about the guys that were in the red pill and the manosphere. Now, I don't agree with everything that the documentary was showing, but Myron's, I guess, critiques or his exposed portion of this footage here doesn't really show anything, at least in my opinion.
In July, and I went ahead and I made this preemptively because I knew that these were going to be on some. If you guys remember, we did a street debate, right? This was on June 18th, right? Which went into the 19th. I was out here debating Zionists, etc. Louis and his team were out there with us, if you guys remember. Here's this camera guy right here. Now, they were out there, right? And you could see Louis walking around the background, trying to ask people questions, etc. They cut all of this out, by the way. Okay, as I was doing these debates, people saying good things about me. We got some clips on there.
Propaganda.
People saying that I was helping them out. Cut all this out. He was here. Spent hours with them. None of this stuff made the cut.
Dude, this whole is an inspiration, bro. I be seeing supercars, people like you just being successful, and I look at them and I'm like, why the not me? Like, what makes them special? We're both human.
And it goes to tell you guys that it was never about actually figuring out anything about the red pill or learning anything or whatever. It was about trying to get content to try to create a certain image. So, knowing this...
But doesn't Myron do that exact same thing with his podcast? You know, he portrays these, like, you know, slutty OnlyFans girls and all these people in, like, the adult film industry and these women that live in Miami that are superficial. They just want to portray a certain image. So, to be completely fair, they do the exact same thing. I think this goes to show not just a problem in the manosphere, but just a problem with like society in general. Like, two things can be true at the same time. This always gets on my nerves when people think like it's all black and white. Like, does the red pill offer some genuine advice that can help a guy's life? Yes. There's certain things that I agree with. I'm not saying that nobody ever in the history of the world can find value in what they're saying. But just because something might be helpful doesn't mean your entirety of your message is. There's still a lot of things that Myron specifically says himself that are very inflammatory, that are very hateful in nature, that are very derogatory, and are not productive prescriptors for men. They're just not. The thing he says about sleeping with 50 women, about how women only have their looks that they offer, and that's their only value in life is their beauty, how men are only valued by the things that they do and not simply just being a man who with integrity and character. I can go on and on. But like, these are things that you can say that there's an argument against. That some of these things that Myron says and the other guys in the red pill say are actually damaging and they're harmful. Two things can be true at once. There's a lot of things that guys like Myron, Tate, and other dudes in the red pill that I've seen, clips that I've watched, I'm like, yeah, you got a good point. I agree with you. Does the red pill address some of the problems that men experience and some of the problems with women and society? Yes, of course they do. And I would agree with a good portion of them. However, the solutions that they offer are actually not helpful, at least in my worldview. The solutions that they offer to these problems are actually creating a lot more problems than they think. And that's where I have my critique with a lot of the guys in the manosphere. Can you find good information? Of course you can. You can find good things in people that you disagree with. That's just a life thing. But just because you agree with some things and can find certain values doesn't mean that everything that you disagree with and everything that they say that is inflammatory and divisive isn't also something to point out. Like, both things can be true. I'm not really sure where Myron's going with this, but as of now, he's not really showing me anything that's convincing me of, you know, his position. So let's just keep watching.
Death warrant. Because after we did this thing, they wanted to come up and continue to record and get more content. I called them and I said, yo, if you guys want to continue to record, I told them, yo, you guys got to cut Angie out the thing. I thought this documentary was about the red pill, about me, about figuring out my background. But then you guys are going to quickly realize that it was never about that. It was them trying to, I guess, film me and then also try to find kinks in my relationship, like kinks in the armor. That's what they were trying to do.
Removed. I just can't have Angie in the documentary. I don't feel.
Again, this is not really something that is convincing, because in the documentary, if you watch it, there's a clip where Myron actually signals over to his then girlfriend to come into the documentary. If he didn't want her in the documentary, then why even ask her to be in it? Like, she came to the studio that day, he knew she was coming. Why didn't he just text her ahead of time and say, hey, there's a documentary being filmed, I don't really want you to be in it, just don't come today. Or don't walk into the room. Like, it just seems a little suspicious that all of a sudden, now that it came out and there's footage of it, that he wants to revoke everything that he was saying. Well, not revoke what he's saying, but yeah, just basically cut that part of Angie out of the documentary, but you put her in that position. So it's not like Netflix coerced him into bringing her on. He invited her onto it. It wasn't about her. They were just having a conversation in Myron's studio, and she just happened to be there at that time. And he told her to come join the conversation. So it doesn't make sense that he's saying to remove her from the documentary when he himself invited her into it. So that's just my stand. That's just my stance.
I'm just going to be very honest. Like, this is my red line.
This is them begging to come up and continue to film me. I told them, I'm not filming with y'all until you guys get her out the documentary.
This isn't me just being sensational. You guys saw the people coming and heckling, people dropping our addresses.
And just so you guys know, this was the day when the came up to me and tried to start a fight. Remember that? Followed me and that. I almost ended up whooping his ass. Followed me back to the spot. This is when we started to go really viral, by the way.
Some guy just tried to start me on the street as I was walking back home. Is that pursuit of truth worth putting someone's life in danger that doesn't want to be in the documentary? But I doubt that you guys are going to put the entirety of the conversation with Angie out. You guys are going to put parts of it in. I will wage a
I already knew
war against them on this.
And when did I record this, guys? Back in July. You're going to see.
What's up, guys? Myron Gaines here. As you guys know, the day is July 19th. We just got done wrapping up a live stream where I debated a bunch of Zionists and some other stuff. Now, the reason why I'm making this video, guys, is to kind of give you guys a summary of what's been going on behind the scenes. And we got to go back in time for you guys to fully understand this. So while I was doing that debate, Louis Theroux, a documentary maker from the UK, very prominent, who basically made a career out of making documentaries mocking.
Look at Brett. Brett is like giving him the side eye, like, I don't trust this ninja, man. And he's there with his crew. He didn't use any of this footage, by the way, which is interesting.
Wing influencers or creators or personalities. And he has come to Miami. This is the second occasion now to record and get content for his documentary that he's doing on the manosphere, aka the Red Pill. He's interviewed several people for this. Myself, Justin Waller, Sterling, Sneeko, or some of the ones that I know off the top. I'm sure he probably spoke to maybe some other people, I think Pearl as well. And we all kind of know that it's going to be a hit piece, right? To some degree, this is just what he does. And obviously, the way it works is they do their documentary, they sell it to a company, more than likely it's going to...
Again, I'm not really getting much here to understand Myron's point of view. Like, he's saying these are like damning receipts, is what the title of the video is, like he's exposing the lies of Netflix. I'm not really getting much of that right now. Like, the documentary itself was not Louis just completely defaming and saying these things about Myron or the other guys that he interviewed. He really just let these dudes talk. I mean, if you watch the documentary yourself, you will see that that is the case. You know, I can't really explain it any better than that. That is one thing that I mentioned in my analysis of it. Like, I wish Louis didn't really insert too many of his judgments or opinions on it, and he continued to ask more questions in the documentary, but he did that to a point. Like, these guys essentially talked themselves off the ledge. There's nothing really that Louis was saying that made them look bad. You know, I think when these guys say things like, oh, they're making hit pieces about me, do you know the definition of a hit piece? Like, having a hit piece is making something that is completely defaming and criticizing or attacking you in some way. I did not get any of that in the documentary. It was literally just him showing up to their day-to-day lives, asking them some questions, like listening to their worldview. Now, just because some of these clips were taken out of the documentary itself doesn't mean that the documentary loses any validity, because a lot of it was just fluff. Like, the things that Myron was saying, like, yeah, but there's some guys that said decent things about him. His girl, even at the time, said some good things about him. That's great, but does that disprove any of the crazy, wild things and the insane worldviews that these guys hold? I don't think it does. There's really nothing here that convinces me that Netflix had... Now, again, I have my own opinions around Netflix. I know that they're not the most trustworthy company, but this doesn't really look like Myron is making a case for anything right here.
And, you know, that's how they make their money. So they're in the process of filming it. They think that they're going to release it sometime in first quarter of 2020.
And that's important that you guys understand that too. They got to sell the documentary, basically, sell the rights to it, whatever it may be, so they can get money. We know Netflix is super woke, so it's got to have a certain, pizzazz, if you know what I'm saying.
Right, March 2026. Right now is July of 2025. Now that you guys kind of know what went down, they were out there recording as I was doing these debates. And they wanted to do a second part. And the reason why they wanted to do a second part is because I had spoken to them before. So if we go back in time, back in March, right around March 16th or whatever, they came to film with me. And, you know, I gave them insights to, you know, how I do my podcast, how I do my solo show, how I do a bunch of things, to include Angie. So Angie was supposed to come and record things for me behind the scenes. What ended up happening is they insisted on talking to her.
Should we meet Angie?
Yeah, she's...
Angie, can we say hi? Buenos dias.
So I said, you know what, look, if you guys want to talk to Angie, you know, we can make it quick, whatever it may be. They did a quick interview.
That's what it was. She was supposed to record for me behind the scenes, but she wasn't going to talk to them, really. She was going to just record whatever. So that's why I had the camera set up there, because she showed up late. Because she was coming from, oh my God, she had something going on. But the purpose is that she wasn't supposed to, originally I was supposed to talk to them, but they insisted on talking to her, and she didn't expect them to be there at that time. That's what it was. Sorry, guys. My bad. This over a year ago now at this point. So I'm like,
and I have all the footage, by the way.
Yeah, but that still doesn't make a lot of sense, because if she didn't know that they were coming and Myron was already there, couldn't he have just texted her and say, hey, the Netflix guys are here, just don't come today? Like, he couldn't have given her a heads up because he knew that they were going to be there to interview him. And whether she knew or not, he could have easily communicated to her, hey, by the way, these guys are here today. Don't even show up. Don't bother. It's like just not putting her in the situation to even get interviewed in the first place. It's like, it doesn't really sound like Myron's taking a lot of responsibility in this aspect of it. If like he didn't want his girl on, then he shouldn't have invited her. You know, obviously the accountability piece, I've spoken a lot about that with the manosphere guys. They don't typically take a lot of responsibility for their actions. It's very easy to blame other people, just as they talk about the weird feminists that they bring on and how they blame all the men and all the other, you know, stupid things that feminists say about modern men. They kind of do the same thing in another way. So again, this isn't really showing me that Myron has anything on this documentary. He's not exposing any lies or some manipulation, because he brought her into the situation. Maybe I'm seeing something or you're seeing something that I'm not. I don't know. Let me know down below in the comments, because I'm not really seeing it here.
Which I do. It's like 50 minutes and they didn't use it.
During the talk, she said nothing but good things about me. I have the full 50-minute video where I talk with him. Then she comes into the fray. We talk about our relationship a bit, etc.
You got a happy relationship?
Yeah, he's very honest. I have always said that. He's always been very straightforward with
And that's my footage, chat.
me, and I always love that from him. Like, you don't get that from many people nowadays, and he's always kept that in their relationship, and he's also very loving. And I say to my friends and like to people that always question their relationship that Myron is somebody in front of the cameras, but behind them is somebody else with me, and I love him very much, and I will love him as long as we're together.
I just wanted to stop that right there for a second, because she said something so funny and ironic that I don't even think Myron meant to have that in there. She said that he's a different guy behind the camera. That right there should tell you a lot. Like, again, we talk about the images, we talk about the facade that these guys create. This is clearly what he's doing. He's selling a dream on the internet, on video, to try to paint himself to be this certain type of guy. But when he's behind closed doors with his girl at the time, and no cameras are rolling, he's a different guy. He talks differently. He probably says things that she wants to hear. Whether he's genuine about it or not, these guys are putting up an image because they want to be respected. And the reason that I can relate to this in a lot of ways is because that's what I used to do. When I first made my business and I first made content, I started to be this super aggressive, macho, almost like a mini Andrew Tate type of guy. Before Andrew Tate was around, just saying. I've been making content since 2018. But I would do that because I thought that's who I had to be listened to be taken seriously, to have authority. And a lot of guys will do this in subconscious ways, not just with content, but in their everyday lives. They might just be a little bit more macho than they should be, or they might be a little bit more arrogant or a little bit more peacocking and showboaty, because they think that that will give them the respect that they want from other men and more attraction from other women. It's just like these posturing mechanics, these masks that these men wear because they think that that's what masculinity is. And a really good book, actually, that I recommend is Lewis Howes' The Mask of Masculinity. I love this book. I honestly might go back and read it again. It's been a while. But that book really highlights the process of a man taking on a persona or a mask because he thinks he needs to be that, because the mask protects from deep down any insecurities or fears that we might have of not being good enough. And there's a lot of the work that I do with my clients. I talk about removing the mask. Removing really what it is your ego, is protecting yourself from any inherent fear or pain that you might have around being fully exposed and fully authentic. But that's truly the only way to real healing and to become more of a masculine man in an authentic way. So if you want to learn more about that, if you want to learn more about my process and what I take clients through, I'm going to leave the link down below. It's a lot different than this red pill stuff. It's actually understanding who you are at your core, bringing out your authentic self so you can eventually attract a genuine relationship at some point. Create something in life. Be on your mission. Be on the calling that God has for your life, so you could be the man that God called you to be. If you want to work with me, you can apply down below at the link, and we can chat. So let's finish this up here, and then we'll wrap it up with some conclusions.
he's a great person, and
He cut that part out.
yeah.
He showed that, but he didn't show when I walked up to her and everything else like that. Didn't show any when I walked up to her, when I kissed her, I gave her a hug. He didn't show any of that.
I don't know. He comes from like very nice values. His family is amazing. So yeah, he's a great man. He teaches men how to be better, and you can see it if you walk with him any day in the street. You will run by somebody that is.
Some of you guys said that it sounds forced. Guys, English is her second language, okay? For you out there. She came from Venezuela a couple of years ago. English is her second language, so that's why she speaks that way. And just so you guys know, again, you guys can see the surprise on her face from their own footage. Look, she did not expect them there. Look, because she went back over there, she didn't expect them.
Things up for this year especially.
Multiple wives, really?
Oh, hey, there's Angie right there.
Should we meet Angie?
Yeah, she's,
Angie, can we say hi?
yeah, we'll keep it.
Yeah, and I said we'll keep it short because she didn't expect them. And obviously I know what they're trying to do as well.
Gonna tell you
I mean, look, was I wrong? Look at all the shit they cut out.
how awesome this man is. And people don't believe it because you see a personality in camera, but he's actually a great man. Like, he's actually a great person. And he has great values, and I love it. I love everything about him. He can be crazy sometimes, but I really love his personality and his values and everything that, you know, makes him the man that he is.
I didn't coach her to say any of that. She said that herself.
Okay, we're gonna end it here because I'm not really convinced of anything that Myron's talking about here. I mean, like, you can say good things about someone, and those can be valid, and you can also say a lot of negative things about somebody. That can also be valid. So like I said earlier, two things can be true at once. You could have some decent points that you make that actually might help a guy out, that might give value, that your girl at the time might even enjoy in you. But that doesn't mean that all the inflammatory things that you say is all of a sudden non-existent. These things are still out there in the internet, you still have said them, you still believe in them, and when people critique you on them, it's not that they're making hit pieces, it's they're just exposing what you're saying as a disagreement or something that's actually damaging. And instead of owning up to it like a man should do, you kind of backtrack and act like, well, look at all the good things about myself though. It's like, that doesn't really matter. I mean, at least to me, that doesn't matter because of all the other things that you're also not talking about or you're not owning up to or holding yourself accountable to. So, you know, I don't know. It's just, to me, it doesn't really seem like this is really saying too much. I don't know. You tell me, though. Are you seeing anything that I'm not seeing? Because I'm not convinced that he really exposed anything or showed anything that made Netflix look bad or anything like that. I think really, like, Myron kind of did it to himself, as well as these other guys in the manosphere. Like, they just spoke their worldview and they made themselves look kind of ridiculous and crazy. It's a big reason why I think people are more or less logging out of the red pill stuff and seeking something deeper like Christianity or religion or anything like that. And that's what I believe in. I believe in Christianity. I'm a Christian. I kind of always have been. But I've been really doubling down because we realize like this manosphere stuff and following imperfect men online and listening to what they believe a man is, it's not enough. It never fills that gap that only God, in my opinion, can fill. So that's just my thoughts on it. If you saw anything in there that I didn't see, feel free to comment that down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it and you want to see some more videos like where I'm reacting to people and breaking some things down in real time. Also, if you want to work with me, my link is down below. Again, I will leave it there if you want to dive into actually becoming more of an authentic man, actually building your strength, healing your shame, healing any wounds that you have, so you can fully be yourself to attract a good relationship at some point, and be a man on his calling to align yourself with the identity that God created for you, so you can actually be a man who's building and making a real difference out there into the world. So that's all for me, man. I hope you enjoyed the video. Anything else, let me know. And you can ask me a question on Instagram as well. I'll leave my link in the description as well. Peace out, man. I will catch you in the next video.